Match 67, Kumonga vs. King Kong by Joshua Reynolds. It came without mercy. Puny villagers were little more than an annoyance to its armored exoskeleton. A kaiju of such relentless aggression that it had once taken the Monster King and the Prince Kaiju to combine their power to thwart it. It was a man-eater and a kaiju eater. Nothing could stop its insatiable appetite, and finally the arachnid reached Pharaoh. How? Who knows? Why? To feed. It took less than a day for Kumonga to ensnare the dozen or so huts and webs and feed on the trapped villagers. Slowly and methodically, he picked them out of his nets. Like a spider enjoying a buffet of flies, Kumonga fed without remorse. Not one single native escaped. But an island god of thunder beckoned. His roar was heard for dozens of miles in every direction, and as Kumonga digested his human meal, the ground began to shake. The jagged, rocky mountains that poked at the blue sky began to crumble, sending wave after wave of black rock rolling. The spider's purple eyes were purple. I thought Kumonga's eyes were blue.
Yeah, they're blue, aren't they?
I'm pretty sure they were blue.
Yeah, well, I'm looking this up. Looking this up for confirmation.
Right.
Because we need to know, is Kaiju X correct?
Or
they are purple.
They
just
are?
want to make note since it says God of Thunder.
Wait, they're purple?
Is it purple?
I'm pretty sure the Showa.
Oh, what? That is... Okay. That makes
Bam!
sense.
They're purple?
I know that the Final Wars version...
I always thought they were blue because of the Final Wars one.
I thought they were blue too. Man, I'm a color deficient freak. Anyway.
Kaiju X is colorblind, confirmed.
Oh, it doesn't help. I'm actually kind of color deficient with reds and greens, so...
So you're like my math teacher in that case.
The spider's purple eyes were fastening on the silk-covered wooden wall the natives had constructed.
As Thor smashed through it.
With ease, King Kong's hairy hands tore through the webs in the wood. The spider slowly backed up, a needle-like stinger emerging from his mouth and sucking back in. At the sight of the horrid spider, the Eighth Wonder beat his chest and lifted his human-like face into the air, releasing another booming war cry. This mattered little to Kumonga. To the spider, the great ape was nothing more than another snack. Pass.
Before Kong could take another step closer, a spray of white silk burst from Kumonga's face. The island god was taken by surprise and stepped back, bringing his hands up to his face as webbing quickly began to build. Kumonga moved in closer, his mouth releasing click-like noises as he continued to spray his webs. Soon, Kong's entire forearms were coated. Knocked off balance, Kong fell back first into the dead remains of several cocooned huts. The ape let out a series of snarls and groans as his fists struggled to rip the webs away. Kumonga slowly approached, keeping low to the ground as his stinger emerged from his face. Shaking his head, the eighth wonder of the world lashed out with his foot. Before the arachnid could stab the weapon in, Kong's flat foot smashed against the spider's upper part of its face. Kumonga lifted into the air and fell upside down, legs kicking wildly. The great ape took this time to focus his immense strength, and with a loud rip, the webs ripped apart, freeing his arms. The ape beat his chest, but suddenly realized the web that had once cocooned his arms now glued his hands to his chest.
Don't you just hate it when that happens?
Wow.
Now remember, Kong is a thinking animal.
Yeah.
Wait, that explains the banner. Why there's fur missing.
No, Nagoda, those are Kong's man boobs.
Yes. Why do you think there's no fur on there anymore?
Yeah, he was waxing.
Oh, that's actually that's canon. That is officially canon. Okay. The ape again backed away, struggling to get his arms unstuck once more. Kumonga had flipped himself back over and moved forward. The spider balanced itself on the tips of its 8 legs, putting his face right into Kong's. The ape again stumbled back, almost falling as Kumonga's stinger emerged from his face. Enraged by the miss, the spider came back down, trying to embed the weapon in his foe's knee. Kong leaped back, still struggling to again free his arms. Can we get like one? So far, it is Kumonga fires web, and it's been 4 paragraphs of Kong like falling backwards as he's trying to free his arms.
Yeah, this is rather repetitive.
And
Let's
falling out
see if we
houses.
get something new.
Yes. Using his superior speed, King Kong turned and ran back, struggling to remain balanced. Well, I guess not. Until he found his target, a pile of rocks. It was a gathering of boulders the natives made in cases just like this. The last time they were used was against a gigantic octopus some time ago. The ape kicked them like a soccer ball. Several truck-sized boulders came crashing down on Kumonga. The spider released a series of clicks, annoyed as the boulders chipped and broke against his head. The distraction gave Kong enough time to again focus all of his strength, but this time pain came with the tear of his soft mammalian flesh. Wait, what? This time pain came with the tear as the soft mammalian flesh was torn off with the webs. There we go. The 8th wonder of the world let out a painful cry as his wounds let out trickles of red. Now able to use his arms again, Kong reached down, grabbing handfuls of the heavy rocks. Like a baseball winding up a pitch, the great ape launched several boulders at once. The rocks smashed into Kumonga's face, being pulverized into pebbles as Kumonga was forced back. The spider hissed and lowered its head. Wasn't one more 7?
Yeah, it was 7766, right?
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Okay, pass.
Yeah, I want to make note that apparently,
Fresh.
I'm really impressed that the natives had those rocks there beforehand. It specifies that the natives had those rocks in case of emergencies, not Kong, the natives. So,
Do you know
let's
how
let's
forgetful he is?
right, yeah, let's give a round of applause to the natives for being able to carry that many rocks to the to that location
I
beforehand.
just want to make note that would be like 8. No, that's gotta be like they're the size of trucks of
That must be
rocks.
some really good
That's like
berry
20
juice for them to
tons.
be able to carry that.
Yeah, that's like 20 tons.
So yeah, really
Well,
impressed. Anyway.
What I'm surprised with, though, is that King Kong knows how to play baseball.
And soccer.
He's a thinking animal.
Yes, he watches a lot of TV. All right. Joe, you go next.
Pass.
Oh, okay. The spider hissed and lowered its head closer to the ground. More and more rocks bounced off his exoskeleton, splintering it and sending small streams of strange fluids flowing. Oh my. Kong snarled and charged forward, lashing out with muscular hands. He moved to the side, careful to avoid the stinger, and reached down, grabbing 2 of Kumonga's left legs. The arachnid let out several quick cracking noises as his needle-like stinger repeatedly stabbed the air. Without effort, Dong hoisted Kumonga over his head. The spider's long limbs flailed about as the ape turned around, throwing the spider at the remains of the wooden silk-covered wall. The ruins fell in a cloud of dust, but before Kumonga could recover, Dong was on him, roaring as he charged. The ape again grabbed one of the predator's limbs. Holding it on with both hands, the ape pressed down on the body with his leg until finally, snap, crackle, pop. The leg popped right out of the body. Kumonga let out a scream as goo squirted out over Kumonga's face. The ape tossed the appendage away and began to smash his foot into Kumonga's thorax. The spider hissed and began to crawl away. But the ape was on him again, dragging him back by two more legs. The ape swung and released him in a quick motion. The super arachnid. Okay.
Not to be confused with the super spider man arachnid or arachnid man.
Super arachnid man. Anyway.
Wait, can we have a super burning arachnid in the KWC?
Super burning arachnid. It's Kumonga's next evolution, did you know?
I didn't know. The super arachnid, the super burning arachnid, was again hurled like a ragdoll. It landed face first on the ground, flipping upside down and several holes and gashes in its exoskeleton spilled fluids. As Dong approached, the island god was blind by rage. The spider reacted just as quick, slowly going solely on instinct. The arachnid stinger launched out. The ape suddenly screamed in sheer pain as the needle stabbed right into his big toe, underneath the large nail.
Ow. That sounds painful.
That is.
Why?
I like how I just like to note. Apparently, hundreds of people have died. Boulders have been thrown, punches, all that, and we just the idea of that hitting is just causing us all to squeal.
Oh. Splinters always hurt when they go under the nail.
Mm-hmm. The toe began to swell. What was that?
Keep reading.
Okay. The toe began to swell, blood being trapped underneath the nail, along with the venom that was quickly being transported through the body.
Alright, pass to Nagoda.
The ape fell back, grabbing his foot in pain.
Joe.
Hey.
Nagoda.
Oh, okay.
Fell back, grabbing his foot in pain and sucking on it like a baby. The spider again managed to flip itself over, moving forward awkwardly. The giant ape reached out into the air as if trying to grab something to hold onto as his leg gave out. The venom was spreading quickly, and his vulnerable mammalian cells were helpless against it. Kong fell back with a thud, grabbing his throbbing foot with his hand as he cried painfully. The other was held palm over at the front of his body. Kumonga hissed and began to spray more webs at the Island King. Strands of web began to dangle from Kong's arm as he began to wave his face and scream in horror, waving his arm, saying, "No, stop! I give up." The webs collected, engulfing his entire arm, and soon his chest and torso. Kumonga continued to advance, creeping forward on his remaining 7 legs, even though I think he should have lost more than that, didn't he?
I think he only lost 1 leg. It just,
It just sounded like he lost more. Okay. The spider stopped the spray, just for a brief moment. His violet eyes reflecting the image of the struggling King Kong. With a happy chirp, the arachnid began to spray again, this time at an upward angle. Like rain, the web began to fall onto Kong's vulnerable head. As venom spread out from his foot, the webs covered his face. The ape's eyes looked around frantically, and he began to thrash. His arm was cocooned, and now his head and shoulders were too, along with his knees and toes. The great god fell back, still thrashing, as Kumonga began to spray his lower body and legs. Oh, there goes his knees and toes. As the ape's good leg kicked at the ground, a downpour of white silk cocoon the rest of his body. In less than 2 minutes, Kumonga had completely cocooned the eighth wonder of the world. The 50-meter cocoon struggled and writhed on the ground, but under the effect of the lethal poison, Kong was helpless. Kumonga chirped again and crept forward, his face mere inches from Kong's side. His stinger shot out, stabbing into the cocoon. The ape's gagged screams rang out again and again and again as Kumonga kept injecting more and more and more of his vile venom into his body. After 6 injections, that sounds painful, the thrashing and moans began to stop. Like an oversized and dead fly, the once mighty King Kong was spider food as he was doped out on poison. Kumonga had to do little more than wait for his chemical cocktail to dissolve the ape's insides. Hey, he did drug him, allowing him to drink his meal. Winner, Kumonga Showa.
Winner, Super
Wait.
Arachnid.
Yeah, super burning arachnid.
Yeah, super burning
in the picture, his eyes are blue. Look at that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look at that picture. His eyes are blue.
Yeah, they
Okay,
are.
yeah, the eyes are blue. At least in that picture.
I guess they're blue sometimes and purple at other times.
It might.
No,
it
they're
might,
just
It might
they're
be the
just
lighting.
purple and the ones that matter.
I guess so. But yeah, this
Maybe
match, I will
Kumonga has
admit, it's probably
contacts.
one of MM's lesser matches, even for these.
Oh, he
earlier
wrote this one
ones.
too?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
wrote
I
this one
agree.
too, Joshua Reynolds.
Mhm.
Like,
Ah.
it's decent, all things considered, but it's a bit more on the average side as opposed to his some of his previous ones,
gotta
which
go
were,
check on
I'd
something.
say, a little above average, or at least a little above his usual work. But that said, I will admit the description of Kumonga's stinger getting getting under Kong's toenail. Yeah, that's definitely very disturbing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But again, the main problem with this match is it almost kind of feels like it doesn't know. It spends a little bit too much time doing one thing and not enough doing others.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Kumonga really only there's not a lot of there's the two monsters fighting, but even then there's not a lot of action. There's just a lot of effects from like the actions that do happen, like the boulders or the initial webbing and such things.
Yeah. So yeah. It's not
Yeah.
really combat heavy per se. It's just them sort of. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Kong without electrical powers has to be wary against a stinger that gets very poisonous. So no, venomous
Yes,
or
he got
poisonous?
drugged.
No, venomous. Venomous would be proper.
Venom is injected, poison is eaten.
Oh yeah. So it would be venomous
Yes.
being injected.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you know your poisons and venoms, Andrew?
It's been a
Yeah.
little while, all right.
Actually, the big thing for me recently was a match involving lava and magma. Getting those two down was like, oh yeah, this is the difference. That's the difference. Like,
There's a difference.
yeah, magma's underground, lava's out is
Above
what
ground.
you see above ground. Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
the more you know.
Yeah,
Yep.
actually, yeah, that's actually a really interesting fact. But boring facts from Gray Shot aside,
You're not wrong. But no, again, I would completely agree. This is kind of like an average match for Joshua, and he's a good writer.
Mhm.
And yeah, it doesn't do anything. I mean, yeah, I do like the fact that Kumonga won.
yeah,
but-
absolutely. I am a fan of that decision. The fact that Kumonga won, and this is another non-electrified Kong match. So
Where he died again.
yeah, he died again.
Again.
Only this time he wasn't killed by he wasn't killed by an environment.
Right. It was definitely
Yeah.
the monster that did him in this time, for sure.
hmm And this is actually Kumonga's last win so far.
Really?
Is it really?
Yeah. He won match 4, and he won this match.
Oh crap! Yeah, you're right.
Ah, that sucks. I'm gonna have to make Kumonga win a match.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, for me, again, there are some monsters that it probably won't be me. I could say it's just because for me, especially Kumonga as well as monsters, it's good. It's a good in theory, but you just can't do a lot with him
Mhm.
because I mean, at least that's just my notes.
Mhm.
Like especially since like Kumonga is a giant spider that you can't really melee with, you can't grapple with. That's why for my preference of monsters, I usually like those that have different abilities or at least can actually like melee.
Mhm. Yeah, I can understand that. Being an actual spider gives a lot of limitations. So honestly, yeah, just if you go off of the movie, it's definitely very restricting of what you can do. But I feel like with me, I try to make it lively as if they're not restricted by suits. And I know I look at a lot of real life references, so I think I might be able to make Kumonga a much more livelier, like hand to hand combatant, maybe.
That's real.
Because
That's why I like the
spiders are
Beatles a lot more.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah, spiders are pretty quick. They are pretty quick.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, well, that's why I like the Mitos because I mean, at least the male Mito in that respect, just because yes, it has a lot of the same like design of Kumonga. Well, minus the head, of course. It
yeah, it's just this large multi-limbed
because
creature.
it's so mobile.
Uh huh.
Yes, but with like the with the sharp with sharp, with sharp
Hook-like,
appendages. Yeah,
appendages. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
But the Muto, one could say, was the most agile creature in that movie, and it
Mhm.
was like it did so much,
Mhm.
and that's why again that's neither here nor there in regards to this match.
Uh
That's just
huh.
my personal preference.
Right.
Again,
Right.
solid banner. Again, very accurate with Kong ripping his hair off his off his nipples, and then and then you have a good, not
Never bring
great
them
match by
back.
Joshua. So no complaints here.
Mhm.
Well, there were some complaints, but
Yeah. Mhm.
We're not talking 164 like Godzilla versus Gamera here.
right, right. It's just
Well,
complaints in that they just don't really do too much. Like they're not taking any new crazy direction. It's just kind of played relatively straight, all things considered.
Yeah, not wrong.
yeah.
So, Joe, did you have anything to add on?
Uh, I'd say it's an all right match. There are some good moments. I like Kumonga shooting his web out is always entertaining to read, in my opinion. And
How dare you? How dare you hold an opinion that's different to ours?
uh, and Kong was Kong was all right in this match. I I think the problem that oh never mind.
A lively description by a lively description. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Nagoda, did you have anything to add on?
Those poor huts. Those poor cocooned huts. Kong
Yes,
fell into
poor
their dead
Jabba.
remains. All Kumonga wanted to do was just to eat the people, but the huts had to suffer for it.
Yeah, Jabba and his family didn't deserve this.
Anyway,
Also, one last note I just realized: how the heck did Kumonga get onto the island?
who
There,
knows?
I just want to see a 5-second video of Kumonga swimming. That's all I want to see.
Actually, fun
He's one of
fact. Actually, as a like I said, I watch a lot of videos of spiders, and there are spiders that are made specifically to travel on water.
Yes.
he ran. He ran
If you're
across
telling
water.
me Kumonga can walk on water, I may
He
have to
used his
fire you
chakra.
though.
Yeah, Kumonga uses his inner chakra. In case you don't know, because Naruto is distributed by Toho. Anyway,
Well, Grayshaw, to answer your question, Kumonga flew there. Do you know which plane that he took? That he took? He took United Airlines.
Yeah, he took the
Andrew,
Godzilla Airlines.
Andrew, end this. Save us.
All right, that was match 67, and will you see you guys next time for match 68? Until then, folks.